Hello, this is Teacher Eduardo for WorldLingua. In this video, I'm going to talk about learning expressions in the new language. More precisely, strategic expressions, right? As you're learning vocabulary, that's a very important thing because you're learning to put a name to everything that's around you, right? But you also want to start to learn some very specific sentences and questions that are going to complement your learning and are going to get you into a real and meaningful conversation. Now, as far as I'm concerned with learning French, I haven't really taken the traditional route, which that would represent something of learning, hello, my name is, or this is my job, and those things. It's more of learning vocabulary that's immediately around me and I use every day, and using some very specific questions to complement and speed up my learning for that. Okay, so this is an alternative method, you could say, to that. And mainly the objective here is to start to get into conversations very fast, and that is going to help to develop the language even more. The main reason to get into a conversation at a beginner stage in your learning is because it helps develop a sense of success, that you're actually learning and you have the ability to do it. So in the past week, I've been focusing on this, on learning vocabulary and learning some very specific sentences and questions, right? But still, there is one outlining question. Which strategic questions or expressions should I learn, right? And how to learn them, because you're learning not just at a grammar level, but at a functional level. So you're going to get a variety of questions. Some are going to be maybe in past, others are going to be in future, there is no limit, really. And you're going to have sometimes some very short expressions, other times you're going to have some very big expressions, right? But the objective is to attack a problem, right? So I've been learning this, and also, very importantly, at this moment, you want to start to develop your thinking in the language, right? How can I do it to start thinking in the language? It is possible. And more precisely, it's the right moment, right? So that later, that thinking process becomes even more natural. Okay, now as you're learning new phrases, it's very possible that you're going to be exposed to some phrases and questions that are very big, and it might seem like it's very difficult to pronounce. All you need to do is use your strategies and attack it little by little, by parts, so that you can eventually say it, right? Right now here with French, I have one, and this is a very useful one for me, because whenever I want to talk to other people in French, I want to say this because they're going to talk very fast. So I go,
Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît.
Okay, so that's a big one. Me being just a beginner. So I want to break it out, like I said before, like a melody. You want to put like a little song to it first. So you do
Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît.
la 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 la. You get the high points. La 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 la. I can say that. That's very easy. In English, in Spanish, whatever language. La 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 la. Okay? So I get the melody first.
Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît.
One is slow, one is fast. And then the next step is you want to start to imagine yourself doing it. So you actually start moving your mouth.
Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît.
You're not saying anything, you're just moving your mouth.
Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît.
And I guarantee you that you can do that. It doesn't matter what language. You can move your mouth to the sound. It's saying the sound. It's doing the sound that's really sometimes complicated. So you just have to give it like that. Like a melody, start moving it, and you're getting into the phrase. You want to get into the phrase, and so that you can say it with confidence.
Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît.
Little by little, you start to go.
Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît.
So you can say it. Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. More or less, I think I got it. Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. So this is a very, very important phrase for me. Parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. So what I want to do now is I want to take my card and I want to write it in my card. And as I'm writing it, I want to repeat it constantly in my head. Maybe the melody, or if I can, with the words too. What I want to do is I want to attach this phrase to a mental concept. But this is a very personal mental concept. So I'm thinking this. This is what I'm thinking whenever I say this phrase. You probably don't understand those pictures, but in my head, in my mind, they make perfect sense. For me, that's parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. Okay, so there I have the letters, right? There I have the snail, which means, for me, that's the mental image I have for, for slow. So for me, this is, in my mind, this is like stop. The hand is for me to stop because I need to stop the conversation. The letters, this for me is language, and the snail for me represents slow. So stop, letters, slow. And that for me is parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. So that helps me to remember very fast. And I'm using phrases, and from now, I can almost start to get into a conversation. Alright, so taking this notion, this concept of melody and breaking it apart, let's take it to the extreme. Here I found a little phrase that's, for me at least, in how I do my transport from house to work. This is a very useful phrase for me because I use a taxi a lot. I use public transportation. Normally I like to sit next to the window. So even though I'm not going to say this phrase to anybody, every time I get into a public transportation, I can say it in my head, or I can look at my car, and that way I'm repeating it constantly. But this is a very big phrase.
Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît. Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît.
That's an enormously big sentence, okay? But it's very useful for me, and the fact that it's very big helps me it's a challenge right now because it's very big. I'm not actually ready. I don't understand the grammar. I don't really get it, but I have this concept, this mental picture of me next to the window, or more precisely, me not next to the window, and I want to be next to the window. I have that picture in my head, and this is the phrase for that moment. And that's all I need to do right now. So what I want to do is I want to go by sections.
Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît.
Je voudrais, and that's it. And I practice. Je voudrais, je voudrais, je voudrais, je voudrais. And then I go to the next part. So I can use my fingers. Check it out. Je voudrais. I go by parts. Je voudrais une place. Okay, I need to check.
Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît.
Je voudrais une place. Je voudrais une place. Une place. Une place. Je voudrais une place. Je voudrais une place.
Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît.
Près de la fenêtre. Près de la fenêtre. Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre. Something like that. Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre.
Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît.
Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît. I remember s'il vous plaît from parlez plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. So that's easy. So je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît. There, I think I have it. Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking it up into 4 sections, and I can understand je voudrais. Well, I can say it. I can understand. I can say une place. I can say près de la fenêtre. It's a little challenging because I'm not accustomed to using the upper part of my throat. So, but I can isolate. Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît. There, and I have it. So that very big sentence, initially, suddenly, when I break it, it's very easy for me to say, je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît. Yeah. So what I want to do now is I want to go to my card, I want to write it, I want to keep repeating it, and I want to put a picture on that. Okay, so there is my card, right? So there I have the text, Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre, s'il vous plaît. Okay, and there I have my picture. Now, I'm no drawing expert, but this picture is good enough, right? This picture is just a connection to the real picture I have in my head. So this is only reference, okay? In my mind, I have this image perfect, right? Because it's attached with emotions and life experience, and it's something I do every day. So this is only for reference. It doesn't matter if it's ugly or if it's great, or as long as it's you that's doing it and you wrote this, in this case me, that's good enough. That's perfect right there. Another benefit of doing these little cards by hand opposed to printing them is that you exercise your writing in French. Well, in my case, in French. This, for me, this is the third time I do s'il vous plaît. So I'm starting to get an idea of how to write s'il vous plaît. And I not only remember the moment and where I can use it, but I start to see the letters so that when I need to write it, I more or less am beginning to generate a notion of how to do it. And that helped me to get a feel for the language as well. So these little cards are really good. It takes a little time, yes, it does. But the benefit is for the rest of your life, basically put. For the past few days now, I've been repeating my phrases. I have to be honest with myself, more importantly. I don't repeat them constantly, every day, but there are moments throughout my day that I do repeat them. Not all of them. Mostly I do some from memory. But still, I have dedicated some time to doing my flashcards. Maybe remember this one. Je voudrais une place près de la fenêtre. Okay, I can still say it after using my fingers to help me break up the big sentence. I've done various ones too, right? There they are. I haven't done all of the phrases yet, but I'm getting there. And I still need to work on my vocabulary. Right, there it is. But these phrases, at least, I have browsed through them constantly, and I can say them pretty much, and I can understand without using Spanish and without using English. I can start to attach a concept to it. Having all of these cards, after a while, it can be a little problematic because we're all very busy people, so carrying them around can be problematic. So what I did, because I already understand these phrases for these flashcards, so I just need the repetition and have them always available, is I did like a summary. And this is my little summary. It's exactly the same sentences. Let me put it over there. I can go here. It's exactly the same sentences from the flashcards, but it's only the sentence and the question. Because I already understand them in my head, I don't need the picture, right? So I carry this one with myself every day, and this is very practical. I just take out my little flashcard, and there they are, all of them, right? And when I want to reinforce the image, I go back. Now these I'll have in my house, and there they are with the picture, and I reinforce if in case I was in doubt. You're going to notice here that maybe I don't have all of them, but do you see that I have underlined, oops, sorry, do you see that I have underlined this, un stylo, and also this, le magasin? Okay, that's because those questions, they're actually more, because the last one here, où se trouve, that really, I just changed that, and I have a different question. Well, it's the same question, but I'm just asking for something different. So actually, for me, I already remember these three. It's three, really. It's où se trouve le magasin, où se trouve la pharmacie, and où se trouve la banque. Right, and this, whoa, sorry. So, and also, avez-vous un stylo? is also I can change the name. That's just a noun. That's a name of something. I just change that, and I have a working question for many things. So doing those little tricks, underlining things that you can substitute, really help you, because you can concentrate just the question and then highlighting so that you remember what you can change. And so we come to an end to this week's activities. Once again, I focused more precisely on learning expressions, and when I mean expressions, it's sentences and strategic questions. And the objective of this was to have the confidence to get into conversations, right? So, and I was practicing with some tips on how to learn these very big expressions and sentences and questions with getting the melody on. So it makes it a little more entertaining, more fun, and I start to have a feel for the language, right? Alright, so for next week, now that I have my repertoire of expressions, now this next week I'm going to focus once again on learning vocabulary, more precisely on food, some things around the house, like furniture and silverware, and also colors, parts of the body as well. So now I want to have my repertoire of strategic expressions, and I want to have vocabulary, and I'm going to put them together. And with very little, just like 3 weeks, you're going to see that I can actually start to have a similar like conversation already in French, just with 3 weeks, right? So that's going to be very exciting. Also, next week I'm going to tell you what to do with this. This is a like a binder. Well, this one I like the flexible ones, but we have the hard copy, the hard cover. I'm going to tell you what to do with this. This is going to turn into a dictionary. Yes, I'm going to do a dictionary of French. But as always, me being me, it's going to be a different kind of dictionary, and you have to watch next week. So see you around. Hope that these week's activities and tricks and tips were very useful to you. See you around. Bye.